And folks, we are on the main screen, which is called the dashboard. On the dashboard, we see the storage information, the resource usage, which shows us that the memory is 11% used, CPU is 2%. There's no external device connected. Then over here it shows us the PBX status. The extensions in use are 0. And then there are 0 conference rooms and 0 calls in the queue. Under the interface status, we see that no USB is connected, no SD card is connected, and the LAN port is connected. So it is blue. And again, down here, none of these is connected. This is the trunk information. So trunk is basically the main line which we are connected to, the main trunk. So in this case, we have SIP trunk connect, which we have configured over here, but it is not connected. If it was connected, it would show us that this would be blue here. Let's go to the next screen. Next screen shows us the system information, the model number of the UCM, the part number, system time, and uptime. Over here, it shows us the firmware information. There's no active calls. Network status shows us all the open ports, the ports it is listening on. Then we come down to the extensions. Extensions, as we saw earlier, that there are 5, actually there are 6 extensions which have been configured from 1000 to 1005. So here we're going to add another extension. We have 3 options here: SIP extension, IEX, or FXS. FXS being the analog extension. We're going to add SIP extension here. Then again, we can add single or batch. If you would add batch, then we can add a range of extensions. So we can tell the UCM what number of extensions we would like to configure. In this case, we will configure a single extension. It will automatically generate the next number. So it's 1006. Permission is internal, that is default permission. We can set it to any of these, which means that if we set it to local, it will be able to make local calls, national or international. So in this case, I'm going to choose local. This is not needed. However, if you want to put something in here, we can do that as the authentication ID. But in this case, I'm going to leave this blank here. There's a default voicemail password, which I'm going to leave it like that. Caller ID number is basically the number that is going to show on the receiving end when we make a call. Pretty much when we move our cursor to any of these, it explains us what the feature means. This is a default password generated by the UCM. You can change it to our own password. Similarly, I'm going to leave all these fields as is. Although we can fill these settings in if we wanted. But I'm going to leave everything as is. I'm not going to change anything over here as well. So we can leave this at default values because it technically we can change the codecs here. So this pertains to the voice quality and the compression. Then in features, we can change any of these according to our requirement. So there's call forwarding unconditional, no answer, call forward busy. Then there's a time condition as well that you can set. So we will only be able to change these, and these will only be applicable once we set up these values here, which have not been set up yet. So I'm going to leave everything at default at the moment. This is when we are away from our extension, then we change these settings over here. There's a lot of different features available, which allow us to make use of all these settings. This is a pretty good feature which we can use. This means that if this is checked, I can put any other number over here, and when I get a call, I'm gonna get a call on the other number as well. So I can put in my cell phone number, I can put any other number over here that is gonna receive the call at the same time. I'm gonna leave it unchecked at the moment. Now UCM has another very good feature, which is called monitor privilege control. This means that if you're in a call center setting or if you're managing few users here, you can monitor their extensions. So you can technically listen into their conversation to check the quality, or even if you want to listen into what they're saying, you can just select the extension you want to listen to here, and then add it here. And then you'll be able to listen to all these 6 extensions. I'm not going to change anything over here. Down here, this is a transfer. So if we need the call to be transferred to another extension, we choose the setting here. I think this would mean that the manager can transfer the call for these extensions to any other number remotely without the actual user knowing that the call is being transferred. And we have other settings here as well. There's a music on hold setting, which means if the extension is busy and someone calls in, I can have music on hold, which is going to play, and the caller is going to listen to able to listen to that music on hold. Over here, I can add extension groups. So if I'm in an office setup and I have a few different departments, I can assign the extensions to the department. For example, I create marketing here. So let's say I want 1000 and 1001 to be part of the marketing group. And then I create another group counting, and I add 1002 and 1003 to the accounting group. So I have 2 groups here with the extensions as listed. The next section is analog trunks. This is if we are connecting our PBX to a phone line, an analog phone line. In that case, we can configure settings over here. So there are 2 ports on the UCM. We can use either or. both of them or one of them. And or here we can change the settings of the analog trunk according to the provider settings. So as you see that it has some default settings that are checked that can be changed. I'm going to leave this as is. However, I'll put a trunk name here. I'll put that in. It says it already exists because you already have a SIP trunk configured with the name of that guy. So I can put Bell analog here. Use others to just I can just simply put we already have a SIP trunk configured here. So the name is bell.ca, file name is bell, and then everything else, there's a username and a password. And then everything else is at default. Now this is an important thing to notice. The outbound routes, this will determine the pattern of how we dial the number. So this pattern is 11 characters. It means that if the call we're going to make can have 11 numbers. And when we make that call is going to go through the SIP trunk. We can have it go through the analog trunk. In this case, I'm going to have that call routed to the SIP trunk. What I can do here that since this is an 11-digit number, which is a local number, if someone dials this number from any extension, it's going to go through the SIP trunk. And then since this is already saved, I'm not going to save this one. I'm going to add another rule here. So this will maybe say international. So that is for local, this is for international. What we can do actually is for local rule, what we can do is that any number which is 11 digits can go to the analog trunk. I'm going to save this. And then add another rule with the name of international. So say for example, the international number is 14 digits, because it also includes 0, 0 in the beginning. So if it's 14 digits, so it means that if we dial 0, 0, 2, and then 4, 3, 4, 2, 3, 2, 3, that is 13. Just 13 digits. So if the international number that we are calling is 13 digits, we can put dash here and 13 X's. Or even we can say, you know, the area, the country code for 00, and then we put 13 digits in front of it, or 10 digits in front of it. X 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And that's our pattern, adding pattern. So any number that has this format, it's going to go through our SIP trunk. So what this will do is, this will save us on the cost, because SIP trunk, as you know, or voice over IP, is cheaper than the conventional analog phone. So if you're making a call through a voice over IP line, it's going to be way cheaper than the call we make through our analog line. So if I choose analog here, it's going to dial it through the analog, which is, which is going to result in additional charges. So that's why the whole purpose of the routing is to tell the system where to route the call through when specific patterns are dialed. So this is very helpful in saving costs. I'm going to save this here. Visualize. Nice color ID. Let's see. So this is another option that we have here. So this enables us to specify an extension which can make the calls through this route. So I put all in here. It means that all the extensions will be able to make use of this this trunk. If they're dialing this pattern. And one more thing to consider here, that unless and until this button is pressed here, the changes won't apply. So any change you make to the UCM configuration can only apply when you hit that button. So next in line is the inbound route. So when over here we configure the outbound routes. Now down here there's an option to configure the inbound route. This can be left at default actually, because you don't really need to configure this unless we have to specify the UCM that certain numbers can be routed through certain trunks. So for example, it's the same idea here. If I put a local number pattern with 11 digits, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Any calls originating from a local number are going to be routed through the voice over IP or SIP trunk here. You can also add a time condition. So we can have the call routed at different times to different set of users or different groups. I'm going to leave this at default actually. Let's see what is in this default here. So right now we have the X, which means any digit from 0 to 9. So any digit from 0 to 9 is allowed through this. We will apply changes there. In the next video, we will look at the other features of the UCM 6202. Thank you for watching.